Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. On television today, Mudha Mohammed Saleh, long known as a trusted advisor to the Iraqi government on economic policy, appeared once again to address some of the central questions surrounding Iraq's exchange rate and the broader monetary reform process. Saleh, who has frequently provided insight into Iraq's financial and currency strategies, focused today on two main ideas: the preference for a fixed exchange rate over a floating one, and the critical role that currency revaluation can play in controlling or even eliminating black market activity. His statements come at a moment of intensifying speculation both inside Iraq and among foreign observers who have closely watched the evolving steps of the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, in relation to a long-anticipated currency revaluation. According to Saleh, Iraq's current fixed exchange rate provides a form of monetary stability that is essential given the unique economic and political conditions the country faces. A fixed-rate regime anchors the value of the Iraqi dinar to a known benchmark, in Iraq's case, typically to the US dollar. This creates predictability for both domestic consumers and international trade partners. Without this anchor, a floating exchange rate, where the value of the currency is determined by market forces, could lead to volatility that would be extremely disruptive to the Iraqi economy, particularly during a time when the government is attempting to attract international investment and rebuild trust in its financial institutions. The value of maintaining a fixed rate is not just a matter of stability. Saleh also hinted that the rigidity of the fixed rate has helped the government slowly dismantle the arbitrage opportunities that black market traders have relied upon. He noted that black market activity often thrives in situations where there's a discrepancy between the official exchange rate and what the currency can actually be traded for on the streets. When central authorities revalue a currency appropriately, aligning the official rate more closely with its real market value, it becomes significantly harder for black market exchanges to survive. In other words, correcting the exchange rate removes the profit motive for illegal currency trading. This helps bring cash back into the banking system and reduces corruption and profiteering. This is not a new theme in Iraq's monetary conversation. For many months, the central bank has focused on capturing dinars that are currently outside the formal banking system. It is believed that over 70 to 90% of Iraq's physical cash remains unbanked, stored in homes, private safes, and unregulated exchanges. This makes it extremely difficult to conduct accurate monetary policy, control inflation, and assess real liquidity in the economy. With such a large volume of currency floating outside official oversight, black markets flourish, draining both legitimacy and control from the formal financial sector. This also weakens Iraq's ability to monitor transactions and enforce compliance with anti-money laundering and anti-terror finance regulations, both of which are requirements for full international financial integration and for gaining WTO accession. Taken together, Saleh's remarks and Frank's interpretation signal a convergence of technical readiness and political will. The fixed exchange rate is being defended and preserved as a stabilizing mechanism, while at the same time, preparations are being made to update that rate to better reflect Iraq's improved economic position. This isn't about allowing the dinar to float freely, which could invite chaos, but rather about strategically choosing a moment when all necessary conditions are aligned to introduce a higher official value. This step would likely be accompanied by a broader currency reform package, including new denominations and enhanced digital banking platforms that allow for a seamless transition away from high-value paper notes. One of the key questions many observers ask is, why now? The answer seems to lie in a combination of macroeconomic reforms, global partnerships, and internal restructuring. Iraq's foreign currency reserves are at a healthy level, hovering around $100 billion. Inflation remains relatively low. Oil exports have stabilized, and the country is now engaging with foreign companies in sectors beyond oil, including agriculture, construction, and digital finance. All of these are favorable economic indicators that strengthen Iraq's case for currency reform. Moreover, the digital banking transformation currently underway is helping to create an infrastructure where a new exchange rate can be implemented with less friction. Salaries are being paid through cards, digital wallets are being introduced, and the number of citizens with formal bank accounts is growing, slowly but steadily. These changes are essential because they reduce the reliance on cash, which in turn makes it harder for black markets to operate undetected. A revaluation would have a much more meaningful impact under these new digital conditions, as the central bank would be better positioned to monitor how new value currency moves through the economy. There's also the geopolitical angle. Iraq has made significant efforts to demonstrate to the international community, especially the United States and the IMF, that it is serious about financial transparency and reform. This is not just about getting a new exchange rate. It's about regaining control over monetary sovereignty, modernizing its financial architecture, and eventually reintegrating into the global financial system as a respected and stable economic partner. Removing Iran's ability to profit from Iraq's financial system is both a national security issue and a financial integrity issue. Ending that exploitation marks a turning point in Iraq's journey toward fiscal independence. In summary, Saleh's statement about the value of a fixed exchange rate and the strategic use of revaluation to combat black market activity is more than just economic theory. It's part of a coordinated, multi-year effort to rehabilitate Iraq's monetary system. Frank's observations suggest that all elements are lining up for a calculated unveiling of a new exchange rate that reflects Iraq's improved fundamentals while eliminating vulnerabilities that have been exploited for years. The emphasis is not on letting the currency float uncontrollably, but on establishing a new fixed or managed rate that better supports the country's economic aspirations. What this ultimately means for investors and observers is that Iraq is preparing for a moment of monetary transition, not chaotic, not impulsive, but deliberate and well-timed. Every layer, from banking reform to international compliance and from black market suppression to public education about digital platforms, is being carefully assembled. If Saleh and Frank are correct in their assessments, then the dinar's future may soon enter a new phase, one marked not by speculation and rumor, but by strategic policy execution and renewed financial credibility. Thanks for tuning into Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.